Hi, Luminaires. How is everybody out there in the world of social media? I am live streaming today on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm so happy to be here. I mentioned earlier today that I would be presenting a wonderful connection. His name is Kevin Mackey, but we're going to hold on first. I want to make sure that you are there and you're awake because it's Wednesday, hump day, middle of the weekday, great day, best day. It's that day where you're like, I'm up on the top of the mountain and I'm ready to go down the other side of the mountain. And for a lot of us, our energy can really feel that. So I know I'm pegging you guys in kind of the solid core middle of the week. I know some of you have been really looking forward to having someone else who does readings besides myself, because I don't have that much bandwidth anymore for the readings. Um, but you've been asking me if I would do a referral, who would I say to go to? Well, Kevin is a mentee of mine, and I've been working with him for a while. And in fact, he doesn't know this, but I've sent some people to him just to get their insight on how he reads. He's probably falling apart in the inside right now. And the feedback that I got was so lovely. And it's the same thing that I would say about him as well. First of all, it's just wonderful to have an energy reader and healer, intuitive. He's a hypnotist and a QHHT practitioner that is a man. And there's something different. I know if we want to get into gender arguments, we can. Not necessary, but there's something about this type of work coming through that kind of presence. And his voice is divine. You guys are going to be talking about his voice forever now. Um, his presence is really calm. He holds the space for you. I notice in some of his readings, he'll do a mixed genre. So we're going to talk about how he approaches his readings. And out of his own good heart, he decided to offer discounts to all the Luminaires, 17% off if you want to get healing, like remote Reiki. His healing touch is incredible. Or if you want to get a reading. Hi, Ed. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Tiff. Oh, I'm so happy to see some of you guys here. Blowing it up. Estrella, it's good to see you. Hi, Mickey. So if you're ready to find a new reader and you're excited to expand your repertoire, no further ado, please welcome a friend of mine, Kevin Mackey. Hi.
Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for that introduction. I'm like, wow.
Did you know half of that?
I knew some of it was coming, but not all of it. Thank you so much, though. I'm so pleased to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. So we have lots of people signing in right now. I just want to throw out there, can you tell us a little bit about you? First of all, how did you even get into this energy centric like connection? How did you know you wanted to be a reader? How did you know you could read? Could you take some time to introduce us to all that?
Sure. Sure. It took a lot of effort on the part of the universe to get me to the part where I started reading for people professionally because I have a lot of self doubt. And hello, everybody in the chat that's saying hello. Yeah, and I always had, I o I never knew I could use my abilities this way, so I've always been spiritually sensitive. Um, Even as a child, I could, sense energy and talk to spirits, and it kind of went away for a while, and then it came back. And I remember reading your book where you started at college and you started experiencing things, and that was kind of my story. I got shut down, and didn't do anything intuitive for a while. And then in college, we had to take a course called Adult Spirituality. And we had the loveliest professor teaching that class, and we had to do a meditation. We kind of had to do like a practice meditation. And this is the oddest thing. So when I was young, little, whenever anything would come approach me spirit wise, I would feel just a little vibration. It would like vum vum, vum vum, vum 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 vum, and then whatever it was would come in.
Sounded like
And
pause there for a second.
yep. So it was kind of like Jaws. And then, as a kid, I would be scared. I would be like, no. But um, it went away. And then when I took adult spirituality and I had to do this meditation for that particular class, I was sitting there in an odd place to begin with, and all of a sudden I started hearing fum 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 fum, that same vibration, and I was like, "Oh," and I recognized where that what that was, and I was like, "Oh, this is coming back." And then a few days later, Jamie, I woke up at like probably 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
I woke up at 3 in the morning, and there was a soldier standing in my bedroom, and or I think he was a soldier. He was wearing dog tags.
Oh,
And was he belonged to the neighbor next door. And I was just like, "No, no, 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 no. Go away. I'm not having any part of this."
but there was some point you did change your mind and you are a part of it because you communicate with them now.
Yes,
What
yeah,
what changed it?
oh, well, there was a lot that changed it. I kind of feel like, I really needed to either do it you know, or just, continue living the way I was just kind of living kind of out of balance and looking for answers. And meanwhile, there's stuff going off around me. And I used to be, if anybody's listening to this and thinks, oh, I'm just not good enough. I don't think spirit could use me in my life. I was when all of this started happening to me again and coming back into my life, I was a heavy, heavy smoker and a drinker. And I thought, oh, and then all of a sudden this came in, and um, I started embracing it more. I became a Reiki practitioner, and the Reiki just cleared everything.
So did it change your habits in the smoking and the drinking?
It sure, yes, it sure did. And
It
what
did.
was interesting, Jamie, when I was doing the Reiki class, when I was got my first attunements. And so if anybody out there is just like questioning whether they're able to do it, I would say do it no matter what. Just show up. And I had to show up, and I was not like everyone else. I was, socially awkward to begin with, and kind of caught in my own stuff. And it was interesting to see what happened, and how my Reiki master accepted me, even though I'm in this classroom, and obviously I'm a heavy smoker, and they can all tell I'm a smoker. And it was interesting because the first attunement in Reiki, it felt like kind of a big deal, but it it was okay. The second attunement, though, that was like Dorothy coming out of the house in The Wizard of Oz. The vision behind my eyes turned all purple. And I was like, "Oh, okay, there's something to this. There's something to this."
Yeah, there's a lot to this.
Yeah, there's a lot to this, yes.
So we have many comments, mostly saying hi. Everybody's just listening in. Amber's sharing that she really resonates with you. And then I heard or read somewhere, Kevin's got a great voice. I was like, knew you were going to say that. Do you know he actually has his own talk show? He's a host at the New Bridge Radio, but that's not coming back until the fall, correct? You have a
Yes,
healing broadcast. You talk about
yes.
healing?
We talk about all kinds of things. I have had, um, people from all over the world who have come on to the New Bridge radio show to talk about, different topics. We had you on the show in June, I wanna say June of last year, and you were one of our best guests ever because you were so friendly and so gracious. And you came and talked about spirit guides, and we were like, everybody was like, "That is such a good show."
Well, thank you. I like to talk.
Yep, and we loved
So
having you.
we can find you again back in fall. So we'll
Mhm.
post that up if you guys want to add new things to your listening list here. But I, if I can change topic, I
Sure.
want to know more about your readings. How do
So
you do your readings?
I use tools to do
Mhm,
my readings. When I first started doing readings, there was a necessity for it to be done because there was a lot of I worked in the corporate world, and this is really what drove me to start seeking spirit back then. And there were always rumors of layoffs and things are going to be happening. And so I actually turned to a deck of cards called the Lenormand cards. And and I would start reading just about different topics in my own life. I started doing readings on events that were going to happen, whether I should make a certain decision. That's what I mostly use the cards for. And as I used them, I began to see, other things were happening as well. And I was getting other ideas. And sometimes I would look at the card and I would know. And that kind of grew. And I learned how to read other decks. And
mhm.
they kind of give me the information. And at times, it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't make any sense now. But then eventually it makes sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I know why that. And that's really how it began to happen. But I use little small cards, the petite cards.
Petite cards?
Petite
What's in the cards?
cards. They were made by a French woman who lived between 1742 and 1843. And her name, this is a funny story, Jamie. Her name was Marie Anne Adelaide Lenormand. And she kind of found out she was a psychic at 14, and she kind of invented the cards for her readings. There are 36 of them. And during her life, she kind of got accused of being a sorceress or a witch a lot of times, and she ended up being thrown in jail. This is so she ends up being thrown in
What's
jail,
the
and she
funny part, Kevin?
well, hang on. So there's this she gets thrown in jail, and she's in her 20s, and she meets this other woman in the jail called Josephine. And her and Josephine become really great friends. And Josephine later marries a guy called Napoleon. So she becomes Josephine Bonaparte. So she's married to Napoleon. So Josephine became, or Anne Marie became the reader for Josephine and Napoleon. And oddly enough, Josephine started having trouble with Napoleon. And and she did what normal people do when they're in a relationship. She consulted a psychic. She went to Marie and she's like, "What's going on? Why is he acting this way?" And uh, and Marie was able to tell him, "Well, he's going to divorce you. He's thinking about leaving you." And she kind of sensed that was the case as well. And when Napoleon found out, because he was very intuitive himself, he had Marie thrown into jail, and she stayed there until that prediction actually came true. Until Josephine was divorced from Napoleon. I don't know. I don't know if that's hilariously funny, but
Your sense of humor is oddly different than mine, Kevin.
right.
The right, the coincidence of it, that's amazing. Can you show us the front side of the cards? The back side is stunning.
Yes, this is what they look like.
Oh, so they based on the traditional playing card or
No, but they can be associated to a playing card. Like they do have little like cards there,
yeah.
and you can relate those to playing cards. Like if I were on
Mhm,
vacation and lost my cards, didn't
mhm.
bring them with me, I could take a plain deck of playing cards, pull out the ones that don't matter, and be able to do a reading on with just playing cards.
So
Because
in your cardimacy, I love it. But in your normal sessions in your reading, you start out with the cards or how do they incorporate?
Well, usually they incorporate later. I've been doing professional readings now for professional clients for almost a year now, and I have to feel a connection to the person I'm reading for, and uh, sometimes there's just not a connection, and I can't understand what's happening, and so it really was. Um, a learning curve for me at first to understand that readings, just like anything else, like healing,
Mhm.
like are co-created. And so part of the reading is me, and part of the reading is the person I'm reading for.
Yeah,
It,
it is.
mhm.
Sally Jeffries would love to know, how did you come into using these cards?
So at first, I thought it was just a coincidence. I thought these were. I don't. I just had a feeling about it, and then I found out I had a much bigger connection to it because I went and I had a QHHT session. And QHHT is Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis technique. And you know how you kind of have profound experiences that sort of change everything? Like change the way
Yeah.
that
Yes.
yeah, that experience changed me so much because I saw myself going through lifetimes in the past and being born and dying and being born and dying. And I realized on such a huge level that I wasn't really human. And I remember walking out of that session that I had, and I'm thinking, I will never be the same after this. Everything that I have ever believed is different. I'm not. This is like this little body part that I'm sitting in isn't really me.
Yeah.
Oh, but then the connection to the cards was I found I had a past life in that time period.
Ah, that makes sense.
It's very likely that I did know Marie Adadel at some point. And I was a portrait artist and a lawyer in that time, a solicitor. And I painted portraits of people, and I never listened to what they wanted. I always tried to capture their soul in some way. And so, yeah, that's really how I probably have a connection to it. And what's interesting is there's a portrait, and I won't tell you what. There's a portrait of Marie Adelaide Lenormand that's you can find on the internet, and every time I look at it, I think that really shows her soul. I wonder if I painted that portrait.
If you research that a little bit more, you hypnotist, you can get to the bottom of it.
Yes, yes, yes.
We have Lily Rose asking, how do you do your readings, Kevin? Do you do them via Zoom, telephone?
So I can do readings remotely, and I do a lot of mine remotely through a app. I also do love doing readings on Zoom, and I love having questions where people are asking me specific questions that they want the answer to. And what I really love, Jamie, though, is I really love it when people are at a place in their life where they're sort of at a plateau and they're not really sure what direction to go. And maybe they're considering options, or they're in a place where the energy is strange. I love readings like that where I can be of assistance and saying, oh, well, this might be what's causing this, and this is what I'm seeing, what energy I'm seeing that is uh, creating the situation for you.
So it doesn't scare you off when somebody comes to the table with a lot of stuff.
No, no. As a matter of fact, I like that. I like when we have a good connection, and um, there's such a co-creative energy in the reading that everything just comes naturally. And by the end, you know it's a good reading when you're like, man, I feel good. I feel like I know what I need to do. That's when you know you've been of service.
All right. Have you ever have a reading then when you hang up the phone or close up Zoom and you're not feeling good?
Yes. Yes,
Thank you.
you know, I have to really clear my energy when I have those kind of sessions
Yeah.
that kind of leave me like, "Who why did they get here? Why did they even come?" You know? But, yeah, like I said, there are some people that really want to test psychics, that feel it's their nature and their duty because they're coming from a belief, um, you know, a belief that, they don't believe in psychic phenomena or the existence of spirit, and really is just their own stuff, and it happens, and maybe not as much as in other fields, but in the psychic world, there's always gonna be people to test you.
Big time. Do you ever
Yeah.
mix your readings with Reiki?
Oh, absolutely. So when I have a new client come in
Yeah.
and sign up for a session, either QHHT or Reiki, I'll read on them to figure out, are they going to be comfortable with me? um, do I need to do anything different? Do they have any kind of health issues? Um, is there anything I need to be aware of? And I do a calibration on them too, a health calibration, and I keep it all so that when they come into my studio or I finally get to encounter them, I can say, "Hey, you know what? This came for me."
Love
Or this came up. And sometimes when I'm doing Reiki, I will see things about the person and they don't make any sense to me. I had one lady that I kept seeing her surrounded by cats as I'm doing Reiki, and I'm like, you know what? For some reason, I just see all these cats as we're moving through this, and it just hit her so emotionally, and she's like, "That makes perfect sense." She's like, "I didn't want to bring it up, but there was this cat that I saw every day, and it got run over, and it's just so heavy, and this healing is so wonderful." So sometimes you don't know why you're seeing something in a session.
Oh, it's so true, right? It is so true. That was a
Mhm.
great example. I know you just started your own business, Lime Street Wellness.
Mhm.
So I'm going to invite the Luminaires to head over. If you would like, you can be one of the very first likes on your Facebook page, Instagram, and you're going to start up some TikTok, aren't you?
Yes. Do you TikTok, Jamie?
Oh, I do TikTok this way and I scroll and I watch.
There uh, there are some amazing healers on TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh, I am just, like, blown away. You know what? I was a little bit like you, Jamie. I was scrolling through, uh, and I happened to scroll across a young lady who was doing distance Reiki, and, oh my gosh, it hit me like a ton of energy. I'm like, "Ooh, this girl really is something." And so, I know there's a lot of dance stuff you can find on TikTok, but you can find healers as well that may be able to help you.
Are you going to do the singing challenges, Kevin? Voiceover challenges.
Wouldn't that be funny? I'm gonna break out my karaoke repertoire.
I would love it. So, at your center, Lime Street Wellness, can people see you in person there, or is it just a remote company right now?
Oh, yes, people can see me in person, especially if you're in the Seattle area or the East Side, Bellevue, Kirkland, Bothell. If you're in any of those towns, you can come. My studio is in Linwood. It's in a really unique building that has a lot of energy, and I love having you. And it's on the fourth floor, but there's an elevator, and you can get in, and it's such a great energy in that building. there are lots of other healers.
It's nice. We all tend to collect,
Mhm,
without knowing. And all of a sudden we look around and go, oh, this is like we have our own center right here from everybody just renting in the same building. It's really
mhm.
nice.
And there's a lady that has a hidden beauty spa who cuts hairs for people who don't want to go, that are shy or don't want to be around in a big salon.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's a great place.
Um, Carrie Klaus, also a mentee, is saying, thank you, Kevin. It's been great listening. My cheeks are sore from smiling.
Oh,
Can't wait to do your reading.
thanks, Carrie.
Can't wait for you to try reading. I want all of you to try Kevin reading. It's nice. I know it's not a very colorful word, but my God, it's true. It's just comforting and nice and present and real. You hold space so great.
Oh,
That's just a empty compliment. You hold space in a way where I feel seen and safe, no matter what the topic is going on.
oh, well, thank you, Jamie. That's a great compliment. Thank you.
And that is my truth. Um, there's so many questions that I really don't know where to begin. I'd like to ask a little bit about Reiki, I guess, before we bring in. If you guys, Luminaires, have questions, please put your fingers to the keyboard and ask questions. So, your distance Reiki, do
Mhm.
you do 30-minute sessions, 1 hour sessions, and what do you normally work on? Or why would somebody come to you for this kind of healing?
I do, I try to do 30-minute sessions, Jamie, but a lot of times they run over.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
So sometimes, and it can be really easy to lose, time. Like, yeah, oh, that was that was an hour. Yeah. So I love doing distance Reiki, and it can it can really help you, especially if you're traveling and you can't really go to an in-person session. Like occasionally I'll have a strange neck thing that I've had my whole life, and I have a distance Reiki person that I go to in that I do a distance Reiki session with in San Francisco, and Dave Hadley, and he does his distance Reiki, and I feel so much better. And sometimes when you receive, when you're a Reiki practitioner and you receive Reiki from another Reiki practitioner, all of a sudden you're so much more appreciative of what a gift it is, because you
Right?
feel, yeah, you feel so good, and you're like, I can do this. I can give this is what I give people.
I don't know if I want to let the secret out about you, Kevin. Sorry.
No.
We didn't talk about this, but I just saw Kristen post this. Kristen is also in our mentorship group this year. I'm lucky enough to have one of Kevin's pendants. It's life changing.
Oh, thank you, Kristen. I'm so glad you said that.
Kevin's dabbling in making uh,
Organite.
organite. I don't know why it just left my mind. Pendants is what I was focused on. So you made me a pendulum that's made out of organite. You asked me what color I like. It is so stunning. I wish I had it here, but I put it in my pocket because it's so beautiful and I carry it randomly places. So I'm certain it's at home right now. Are
Oh,
you going to sell those?
I plan to use them definitely in healing as I learn more about them, and as I start understanding the energy of them. At first, I'm going to be doing something else in Lime Street Wellness where I do something called forest therapy, and
Yes.
there's something. Washington has a lot of really great woodsy places, and I want to take people out into nature and have them experience healing, because in the outdoors and around the forest and around trees, there's a lot of healing aerosols in the air that are put off by the plants. So there's alpha pinene and beta pinene from the pine trees that you inhale, that really can put you in a state of wellness. And So I'm you and I have been working with on this project where there's a symmetry and a journey in this forest therapy where somebody comes out at the other end and just healed and whole because it can change. Being in the outdoors is something we always did as a species and something that brings us natural balance and health. And that's what I eventually want to do in Lime Street. So, in addition to Reiki and hypnosis, people can come and be a part of this forest therapy where, I want people who are stressed to the max come and feel what it feels like to release it.
Are you going to put that up on your website on the Lime Street Wellness? Like
Oh,
what
absolutely.
people would gather and you'll walk them through the forest?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm still doing, going. There's a particular place that's really close to my Reiki studio that has so much good, and that is really where I want to do this thing because it starts out in kind of a urban setting, and then by the end, you're out by Puget Sound on the beach, and you've gone through all of these phases as you're going on this long journey. It's great. It's great. That's what I want.
God, I can feel its greatness over here.
I know Maitland always rings the chimes when I talk with you.
I wanted to put up Amy's comment. Just have to say, Kevin has such a lovely and gentle energy. This is such a nice space to be with you both.
Oh, thank you so much, Amy. That's a great comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Again, if you like how Kevin's energy feels, and you're just like, these are the people that I want to put myself around, then please head over to his Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Be the first to like it. He's going to start posting soon, supposedly next week in our JBM mentorship. It is next week. You guys are going to be posting on social media. We're
Yeah.
about to get into our interviews and launch. Yeah.
Mhm.
What were you saying?
Oh, it's exciting. I think everybody in the mentorship class. Well, maybe so. Like I said earlier, I have social anxiety, so you know, you may want to adjust your expectations before you go and look at the content. Be like, okay, yeah, he does have social anxiety. He wasn't lying.
You do so well with it. Like, I don't pick up on that, you
Oh,
know,
good, good,
when you're present like this. It doesn't even appear.
good. When they asked me to do a live radio show, Jamie, I'm like, are you crazy? No.
Um, I know our time is running short, but there's a few other things I would love to know. First, I just want to thank you for giving a discount to the Luminaires.
Mhm,
You're offering 17% off your services,
mhm.
and you can use the coupon code Jamie. Clever of you, JAMIE, and get the 17% off. Your wait list is that? Can I ask what your availability is like?
Well, I know I have 2 slots left in August, and I think I have quite a few in September. As far as QHHT,
Mhm.
I'm still doing intern sessions, for people who are local, but I think the next ones I have available are October.
For the
So,
QHHT, but for the readings and Reiki, you have some this month and availability next month, which is wonderful. So
yep.
I love that you're available. And I normally love asking people that I talk to if you have a golden nugget, just something, maybe it could be a quote, a way that you live your life, a viewpoint that you have that you could offer to us in a way of, all right, we might be able to try this on to help us live our path and our alignment. If you
Yes.
have something of that nature, I would love to hear it.
You know what? I do, and,
Tell me.
this comes from failing. So, I did this before and failed, but my golden nugget is in anything you do is if you're doing a business or you're learning or growing, everything is built upon relationships. And the better your relationships are with the people you're working with, the better your business becomes. When you co-create with the people you're around, it makes your life easier and it makes their life easier because you may have an idea or even a word of wisdom that might help that person. And if you can come at it like, oh, we're co-creating this process, everything just goes so much smoother. And I always try to present more than what's called for, so that it is a co-creation. Like when I come in, I try to be prepared. I try to understand who I'm meeting with, if even if it's something small. And that's my nugget. Business and healing and is all about relationships and nurturing those relationships. And that's my golden nugget.
I love your golden nugget.
Oh, thank you, Jean.
Gosh, a great way to nurture this is Luminaires. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if
Yes.
you enjoy Kevin, just please follow your instincts. Head over to limestreetwellness.com. It's .com, right?
Yes. Limeshoopwellness.com.
And check Kevin's services out. Or you can wait until fall and listen to him over on New Bridge Radio Connecting New Bridge Radio.
And
Com.
you can sign up for updates on my website. And you don't have to worry about spam because I don't know how to do that. But yeah, you can sign up and get any kind of new updates on my social media and what's happening on Lime Street.
I love it. Thank you. Oh, okay. With that said, Kevin, I'll release you back into the wild. Thank you for your time, your
Thank you, Jean.
mind, your heart, your presence. It's just been a lot of fun and examples. I've loved it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And Luminaires, thank you so much for being here. Remember, this is not woo woo, it's true, true. Take care, everybody. Bye. Bye, Kevin.